ya be no ye no ko ba
oh no ko ba ko me na mi do mo shi
ma o fa na bo won ta wole aga o ye ko
oh lo fine ana zo nke shift fulengelenge ko yen wonu emi wo le spice un fine ni tole 7 ni je no ba yen fine she me go me get poison when ni tuba for fio she na mi ike mo go penge poison gbo.
Coaching is putting your thinking into action. That is what coaching is about. Now, I studied them, I saw them, I revisited the match they played against us. Then I saw that we gave them enough space to operate because they are full of techniques. The boys, the 14, 20, 10, 8, 12. Very, very with the ball when you give them space. So we try something called tracking and getting free. Track them, get free and play. So we deny them the space for them to maneuver.
In terms of power play, it's zilch. If you watch our game against Mali, the young man was running away from taking the ball. He didn't want it. Give me away, give me away. He was practically running away. He was running away when we were being marooned and we were under attack from the Malians, and he had the opportunity of staking a claim in the team. Anytime an attempt was made to him with the ball, with the pass,
he's running away.
He's running away, leaving the ball,
hiding
behind opponent. This whole Telemundo, it's like it's something that sometimes
for the uninitiated, Telemundo is a channel that shows telenovelas.
Yes.
So this is like a soap opera.
It's like a soap opera. This clearly is a soap opera. It's winding down. So let's call Extremadura man from Extremadura man. Boga. When the ball is coming to the player, he's running away. Do you watch the game? And shockingly, there's a certain miraculous acrobatism.
Na message say there, masin san players akuku da mama mutim na gina masa. Players be na masin san. Team na no ayehye. Team wo de bubo players na mama. Sakim CH. Hwan? Sakim CH. Aha. Team over na. Wo se dai? Team over na. Aha. Cavers. Hwan? Cavers. Cavers mi na ya san omo. Eze sister sikupulator mo nya bi mo. Sister sikupulator onya bi mo. Ayi omo se ayi. Brazil anyway. Ya sign no. Brazil ni bay. Omo fẹ́ no wa se silver se wa. Tiago Silva. Aha, Tiago Silva. You say
me the Felix in on against stand. My son be say me Adamu. I no go need my job. Go marry. No, you see, I don't need my job. Go marry.
So you refuse to punish him.
They know the punishment. It serves you right. No, not the punishment. See. You choose. You choose love over job. That is exactly what you do. Because see what Richard go do. Football no day. Richard go marry.
Yeah.
So if you be footballer, see from August 2019 to December 29, we don't play football. No marry. We start league after we fall. He said they go marry.
That be the time where money catch.
No. So you choose love over career. And so if today you get your lover, the coach say they give you more time to go chop love. So it's not a big deal. Me, I guess I thought that this matter.
Does Don Botte still want to play football? You are 36 years old.
Forget about the age.
We cannot forget about the age, Don. You are 36.
Yeah, 36. You doubt 36. Me, forget about the age. What you want me to come and do for you?
You still think you can perform at the highest level?
Why?
In Ghana?
Yeah. Not in Ghana, sir.
Anywhere?
Yeah.
You train?
Serious.
By yourself?
Always.
Why don't you want to join a club and train?
You see, that's what I'm saying. Them themselves, they don't believe themselves. The coaches don't believe themselves. They are not real coaches. They don't. You have to believe yourself that no, this guy can do it for me. If you believe me, I can do it. But so far as you just relax yourself, no, if I come safe, I won't get that spirit because you don't believe me.
So you think that if a Premier League team were to give you an opportunity to play, you would make an impact?
Ghana here.
Yes.
I can play pass all the current players.
That's
all
the
the current players in Ghana Premier League.
That's a serious statement coming from somebody who
Yeah.
hasn't played in almost a year.
You know something? I know myself. That's why I said, if you don't know me, you don't know me.
You see, as for a game, like when you get a chance, every blessed player will decide to score, and then you decide to catch the ball. So when you both decide together, then you miss the chance. I decide differently, and he also decided differently, and our decision was together. That's why he was able to catch the ball. So I think next time I'll raise my head and let the goal post and put the ball.
You have 3 or 4 phones. What messages have you been receiving?
I haven't read them because they keep on coming. They keep on coming. I think that I have to turn one of the phone off.
You haven't read any of them? Messages?
No, not at all. Look, they still calling. They still calling. Phones are calling.
A Betway and Good Day Energy drink. As we say here all the time, we are live. Yes, sir. The crew is in here. Yeah, the rabbi is in the flesh today. He will tell us about the Kumasi escapade. Oh, Charlie, Rabbi, will it be no fear only be? Oh, Charlie. Nathan Kwao is here. Evans Ofochumanso is here. These days, he has gathered more accolades, more aliases. They say he's called El Pichi, or Santiago Pichi, Doro Pichi. Oh, Charlie. Espanol Pichi. I can go on and on. Susu Graham is here. Let's get the show rolling. Rabbi, Sheikh Ni Abba Altani Mubarak. Sheikh, the takeover is looking shaky. Sheikh, the takeover is looking shaky. Right now that you are here, you need to tell us what you have seen in the spiritual realms. Because Sir Ratcliffe is trying to shake your boots and your prospects of wearing jalabia. Sheikh, please, take us to a spiritual place.
You was about. Oh, no bale woba. You are walking minutes wanima swanama swakogbele yachi umanche yili aba. Oh, no bale woba. O manche yili olake. You are o manche yili a best sports panorama won ye manche. If you mfeko, she amenye. Ake onye. Oba afe no ba nyofe shi onye. No ba fe ogbe ami. Oba fe ogbe ami no you are no kwale. Chris Hutton, nuchumo ba chon. Ne chuo nuchumo na kanoni. Yesu nuchumo chuo. Chuni ya Yesu ba mi. Mo famo ne ba fo egbete yo wa animo akpasa shidi.
Amen.
Ane pasa shidi. Ane pasa shidi ye jole mi. Koni Ghana aya here. Sheikh Ni Abba Artani Mubarak. Sheikh Ni Abba Artani Mubarak. Oh no more. What be normal? Shake.
Don't give me the
Jasi.
name.
Jasi. Can what be normal?
Amen.
When I ke April ba na gbe mi glaze say me so ti mama me. Nye na ke dite say ba aka wo nyanyo mo fe 900 and something million pound. Hey. Oba ha me. Enya me kam ta 6 billion. Oba ha me na I'm at me na ma wa metation only empty check be go. I'm den choba ke match no small no hot team check no ogmeti me. Sheikh Jassim Olakeshi. Yeah, yes, ba me oba he man you. Koni me coach Christopher Nimley. Sheikh ni apa Artani Mubarak ke Sheikh ni tankwao. Ke Sheikh mo fia mo ni support ma yo. Mo fia wo ya to. Yeah, yes, ba me. Amen. Amen.
Shake FC. Shake FC. If you are part of Shake FC, you know yourself. The text and WhatsApp lines obviously are active. 0549 986 996. 0549 986 996. That's the text and WhatsApp line. Betway though, it's all about the aviator. They say Charlie, actions still day Betway. Oh. Bet a minimum of 10 Ghana cedis on Betway Aviator and stand a chance of winning amazing and exciting prizes, including vouchers, smartphones, and many more. Sign up and play at betway.com.gh. Terms and conditions apply, regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet the responsible way, no under 18. Betway, bet your way. Yeah, so Charlie, if you have invested in football and your investments are taking persistent haircuts, Aviator will save you, Charlie. Aviator day for you. Yeah, that'll be the whole Aviator day. Guys, let's get into it. It's been an interesting week. AFCON qualifiers on the horizon. Euro 2024 qualifiers. Right here at home, we want to concern ourselves with Chris Hughton's first 2 matches. The lessons learned. I'm going to throw
Across border.
My brother, we gone.
We gone.
Countryside.
But who did the countryside? That'd be Houston.
Yeah, Houston did there.
4 points in 6 games. 4 points out of 6. 2 games played.
Yeah.
Represented himself well. I'll just pick out a few of the topical issues that have happened, and then I'll let each person address one of them, because we have 4 things on the item today, or on the list today. I want us to finish everything before we leave. So we'll talk about the Black Stars, obviously. We'll discuss Felix Afena-Gyan and his back and forth with the Black Meteors. Was he invited late? Was he not invited properly? Did he turn it down? Does he feel superior to the team? A lot of legs to that story. We'll talk about that. There's a big match this weekend. We barely get early kickoffs like this. Manchester City, Liverpool.
Kaish.
Early kickoff. Hot. When they score you, your week all go for sport.
And your defeat will be on rotation.
My new thing is that when they score the first goal against my team, I turn the TV off.
It will save you.
There are times when
you come later and see the result. Okay, we've lost. Yeah. But watching them play rubbish for
there are times when I actually want to do that, but I just can't reach the remote and turn off the TV, because I tell myself, Charlie, it could be.
The comeback is coming.
Then you watch the thing, I realize that, Charlie,
part 2, 3. That's how it is. Let's start off.
It's the 90. You see, losing a game is fine, but watching 90 minutes of rubbish.
Yeah, I know how that feels. I know how that feels. Let's dig right into it. Coach, let me start off with you. First thing I want to address, and one of the first things I saw people hammer on persistently, was on Gideon Mensah and our left back position. A lot of people believe that with Baba Rahman away, this was Gideon's final chance to dispel any doubt in anybody's mind that he's our sole first choice for number 1, and everybody else comes behind him. You watched the 2 games against Angola. Did he convince you? Did he not play well enough to warrant such criticism? What did you make of Gideon Mensah in the 2 games?
So, before I address that, I have seen some very laughable articles.
No, those ones, don't mind those ones.
Very laughable. And so I tweeted and I said, this is absolute rubbish. And I'm not going to take that back. It's absolute rubbish. Look, if the man has been around for so long a time, and we say we have a problem, what makes you think that if we brought in somebody new to come and help solve the problem, and the person in quote is unable to solve the problem, what makes you think that the one who's been there, that we've diagnosed to be the problem, is the solution to the problem? What sort of kindergarten?
You mean that analogy is flawed?
Completely flawed. So for those who champion, all those championing that pneumonia, go and sleep.
Am I a Beshi?
We are moving. You see the under 23 left back. You see what he's doing. These are the people we should be encouraging.
Samuel Ashikwe.
We should be encouraging them. Now let me address the Gideon Mensah issue. Look, I was in Kumasi. I watched every second of that game. Truth be told, Gideon finds himself playing against a left-footed winger.
That's always going to be a problem.
That's always going to create problems for him. But at the end of the day, at the end of the day, dealing with the situation shouldn't have been left to the young man alone. Because we all know that when the Costa turns onto his favorable foot,
he's turning onto Gideon's right.
Unfavorable foot. So tactically, Edmond Addo, who was playing as a DM or should have, or one of the centre backs should have, because anytime Gideon tried to show the guy onto the byline, the guy wouldn't go there. So once he decides to cut in, somebody should be blocking the channel. This is tactics. So I looked at the situation over and over. Okay, two things. The guy always turned onto his unfavorable foot. Do we say that as a coach, you leave it for him to deal with it alone? Surely he couldn't have dealt with it. So there should have been a team way of dealing with it. One of such things, and then if you look at the game again, Kamadi never, I repeat, never assisted Gideon in that game.
He said this every game.
He never. Look, this every game. I was asking myself that, look, Kamadi, you are playing professional football in the EPL. It's not all the time where you expect the coaches to step in and try and prompt you as to what you should do. You should clearly see. And there were times where the Angolans were doubling up on Gideon.
He clearly pinpointed his as a weak spot.
Look, they will go and concentrate whatever they intend to do on that side. And anytime you look at the numerical setting, they always had numbers than we did. So that created a problem in the first leg. So I would say that I agree that Gideon had a very difficult game, and I've just explained the reason why that will happen. If you go and put Babaraman there, it will be even worse. It will be worse. Now let's go to what happened in Angola. You and I know for a fact that in terms of performance, he did better in Angola than he did in Kumasi. Because then you could clearly see that the team, the introduction of Salis, who is very smart, proper midfielder, proper DM. He knows, he reads the danger and then step in. Go and watch the game against Angola again. You clearly saw that Salis all the time had Gideon covered on the right side of his foot. So that we clearly saw that the impact that the Angolan guy had in Kumasi, he didn't have such.
Costa was even subbed.
Yes.
Let me just ask you one question before you continue. I mean, you've pointed out systemic problems. Are you saying that Gideon has no responsibility to take personally over the two
I
games?
admit it. That he had a difficult time. But you should look at the limitation that came with that. That's why I'm saying that it should have been a team way of dealing with it. Because you cannot tell Gideon that all of a sudden he should change his left foot to be his right foot.
If for example, if Helder Costa's dominant foot was his right
foot,
and he kept dealing with Gideon all the then you know that.
Fair enough.
So that is and I like what the technical team did in that second leg, or when we went to Angola. They clearly realized that, look, in dealing with him, we need somebody to be on Gideon. So anytime he decides to cut in, that person steps in to deal with it. And Salis did it superbly by all standard. But that is not to say that we shouldn't create competition for Gideon Mensah. I've always said, a proper team is the team that always has proper competition. So the likes of Ashikwe, if Ashikwe can boss, we are taking them to the under-23 tournament in Morocco. If he can go there and show that he's ready, clearly he should be given a call-up into the Black Stars.
Fair enough.
No two ways about that. No two ways about that. He should be given a call up into the Black Star to show or to create that healthy competition between him and Gideon Mensah.
Fair enough. Let me talk to Susu about.
I want to just say something about the under 20.
I want to get through a lot.
But I just want to say we should take our best players. So all the Kudus, Kamaldeen who are under 23, I think they should go.
We'll get to that discussion.
Asaka comment here. Joseph Pencil can be here. I need to comment on that.
We'll get to that discussion. I'll give you time to spread your wings.
Of course, I need to comment on that.
Quick thoughts on Kingsley Schindler. Saw him in that second game against Angola.
Horrible.
Is he competition? Can he give Tariq Alidu Seidu and Ko a run?
No, even before we get there, let's think about our team and the right backs we have. He's probably at best fourth choice. If you think about it, because Ali Duseidu is there, Tariq Lamptey is there, Dennis Odo is there. Tariq got injured.
Andy Adam.
Oh, no more labor.
Let's not do this.
No, there's a reason he was called up ahead of Andy Adam. So let's say he's fourth choice. So, because Tariq Lamptey was called, he's injured, he didn't come. Odo came, got injured. Seidu wasn't even the squad because he's injured.
He's injured, yeah.
I don't see if our fourth choice has a bad game. There's a reason he's fourth choice.
Exactly.
I don't think we should dwell on him having a bad game.
Would that not be because it was also his debut? Can you not cut him that slack?
I'm not. For me, it's not even. It's a non-issue whether he had a good game or not. We are down to our fourth choice left back. He could even be fifth. Maybe there was someone else who was also hurt.
That was Philemon Baffle.
Yes,
Don't do this. Don't do this.
So you get my point. So at that point, we can see he's clearly down the rotation. And let's also add the fact that he's a natural winger. He's more of a winger who can
midfield, right.
He's more of a winger who can play as a right back. So if he has a fourth choice right back who's more offensive,
more or less adjusting,
has a bad game defensive, it doesn't mean anything. Because for all we know, we might not see him in another Black Star squad. He's also 29. So it's not like he's a prospect. We might not see him in another Black Star squad for another 2 years. So I don't feel like there should be too much discussion on what our fourth choice right back was up to. It didn't work out. It could have been punished. We got away with it. Fair enough. If we want to talk about the defense, let's talk about the experienced players who didn't have good games. I think
I'll get into it. I'm just going bit by bit.
So for me, the Schindler thing is a non-issue. I don't think we should really kind of think about it too much. He had a bad game. We accepted it, but
so you think it was just ad hoc? You think he's somebody they won't invite again?
I don't think
as a right back when all these guys are fit. I don't think he should be looking.
Fair enough. Let's move it on and talk about Danny Amate. Again, I've had question marks about him for a minute.
Yeah.
Both watching. I watch the EPL all the time. We cover it all the time, so I see Amate a lot. Pichichi.
Ben.
Is Amate still a starting caliber centre back for the Black Stars?
Absolutely. I think any day I'll vouch for Amate being part of the Black Stars first 11
over the rest of the guys we have.
Yes, I know people have issues with his defending at times, but looking at the consistency in the team, I think he's lasted the last 22 games. He's played for the Black Stars. He's done so well. And you look at the sort of centre backs we have now: Mo Salisu, Alex Juku, Amate, Joseph Aidu. And then
Nicolas Opoku in the mix, yeah.
I think that one player
Mumin has been on the fringes.
I think one player who has been in the Black Stars team and knows the team so well now is Amate. And with the experience that he has gathered,
But all this experience is not showing. The last game in Angola, he looked overconfident to me. And then it resulted in a penalty.
That's one aspect of Amate's play that I think that the coaches will just have to talk to him about. His tackles sometimes. Even in the APL, there are days where he goes off. I think against Chelsea, he had a very poor tackle in the game and he survived. It's one of those things that Amate does which goes off board. But in overall, I look at the sort of composure he brings to the Black Stars defense. For me, it's about the experience he's gathered playing with the team. Yeah. He's paired with Mo Salisu. He's paired with Juku. He's been one of the constant centre backs we've had in the Black Stars. And I think we don't have to throw him just off the team because he's having a bad tackle or a bad day. He has shown that
he's had a bad stretch. He's been
how often
he's been back from the World Cup at least.
See,
at least the
we
World Cup.
We may say coach.
The World Cup.
No more.
Amate, the last time he started for Leicester.
Look, Amate has his SSs some days, but I think that for the Black Stars, he's shown that
He's not good.
He's a constant centre back, and he has played. I think he has fitted in for us quite comfortably.
I think
comfortably with
quite comfortably.
That's why I don't.
I think that incident that happened in Angola, out of 5 of our centre backs,
Remember, he gave away a penalty in the first one.
Joseph Edu we saw in that game was even G3.
Oh, he wasn't.
But he doesn't. I mean, if I don't play and you throw me into a team once every 15 games, of course I'll be G3.
Exactly. But my point is this: that the sort of experience he's gathered at the Black Stars, it will just be off to just take him off the team at the moment when he's not committed any huge offense.
You see,
you believe it's not good enough.
We tend to talk about experience, but there is a point I've always been making,
which is experience without form
is useless.
Experience without form.
Rabbi, preach. This is the same one.
Experience without form is useless.
That is why you see the likes of Gigi Buffon could last the duration they lasted because they had form. So it's
not just old age.
No, it's not about old age.
I understand.
Ike Casillas, they could last that duration. Van der Sar and Co. When they were 37, 38, you could clearly say they had form. You can look the likes of Cannavaro and Co. They had form. So I've always said that it is good to be experienced.
Yeah.
But when the form is bad, experience will not save you. And you need the form to be good for the experience to make you better and extraordinary.
And even at Leicester,
and Amate's currently form we have seen. Amate form many. Average. You see when the list was mentioned, I spoke about the boy that was overlooked from Mumin.
But Mumin is not playing. That's the problem.
He's playing.
His minutes are not constant enough.
You see,
he doesn't get consistent.
We have a coach who says he's trying to develop a team. I think we should be looking. I'm not saying get rid of Amate.
Exactly.
And he's actually.
I'm not saying get rid of Amate.
Just not in the starting 11.
No.
For
me, I think that a time will come where we all agree that he needs to be off the first 11, but not now.
When again?
Not now.
Amate?
Yes.
Oh no, the time is now.
No, not now.
Oh, the time is now. The time is now.
Those incidents
he caused.
Oh yes,
the first game he nearly did it again.
Look, there's been not
one person, please. One person.
Look, not he nearly did it. In that first game, the Angola had a penalty. That Amate boy in Kumasi. It was a clear penalty. You remember the one I'm talking about?
I remember
it was clear. He guided the guy, and then he didn't do anything to the ball. He just clamped into the guy. I said, hey, penalty. But look, I'm telling you, if the referee looked at the crowd
and did not give it,
he just
that's why the second time the referee also looked at the crowd. But he didn't hesitate.
Guess what? Now he's been supplanted in that Leicester backline by Harry Suter, and honestly,
who was at Stoke?
Yep.
Stoke City.
Ever since Suter took his place, Leicester have not been elite defensively, but they've been considerably better.
Now this is the point. For me, I maintain that a time will come when we all agree that this persistent Amate defending is not good enough.
The time is now.
But for me, that time is not yet now.
Okay.
I think that he has been consistent. He has got the experience. I like the partnership with Mo Salisu better than with Juku, but it's not getting them now. He's getting Edu and all. But
I'll say
if this continues, we will agree.
Wait, hold on. So let me hold you to timeline. Hold on. Let me hold you to timelines. You say if this continues, national team football is not like club football.
I understand.
How long do we tolerate this?
It's been going on for too long.
We've spoken about the Gideon Mensah incident, yet we are holding grounds for him.
No, but come on.
We've spoken about some.
He's the
senior defender. He can't hold ground for
senior
defender. You can't be the worst defender.
If you have to hold ground for players, the likes of Jordan will not even be in the Black Stars.
Hey, we have arrived.
No. I'm not going to point. If we have to scrutinize every player,
let's go in.
Every player.
I want you to do this.
Jordan will not be in the Black Stars.
I disagree, but
let's no. Don't listen to anybody else. It is your going. No, go in. I want you to go in. I like this list.
Let me just be here.
No, finish. I like this.
Jordan. Amate. Jordan, let's go.
Jordan.
Let's go.
Amate, Baba Rahman, Gideon Mensah, Joseph Edu, Edmond Ado, Andrea is already off.
Let's go. Keep going.
let me stick to this. If you are to really scrutinize the Black Stars performance and all that, all these people will not be in the team. So once you are able to hold God for some of the players, I think that we need to give Amati some more time. If this continues, then
I hold on. Let me just a point before Nathan comes in. I would disagree with Joseph Edu though, because you know what? He's been literally the most consistent player for Celta Vigo this season.
But for the Black Stars,
and he doesn't get a fair shot at playing in the Black Star. We always throw him 15 minutes. 10 minutes, or we bring him in as a replacement
in a game
when
something
before
goes
this game. I think against Ethiopia.
Yeah,
I can give you the number of games he's played and how well he's done, and I can highlight the Ethiopia game as one of his.
So my point is, if we are making a point for some players, Amati also stays.
The Liverpool striker took him for
fair enough. Let's move it on.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You see, my thing is,
just quick thoughts. We need to move on.
Some of these players, they are playing consistently for their clubs. Even if the Black Stars not that great, some of them you can see consistently for their clubs. I know Jordan has been impressive, but he's one of Crystal Palace's most consistent players. He's playing. Amate is not even playing in a horrible Leicester defense. If he was so good, he'd be playing. They went to the championship to get Harry Suter. Harry Suter
come and dislodge him.
Stoke City, why are they in the championship? They went to find a championship centre back to dislodge
come
him.
and sack you.
Come on, and we are here complaining about Baba Rahman and Andy Adam are Reading that they are championship level defenders. If Amate is being replaced by a championship level centre back, what does it say about him?
Nathan, your take on this before I move it on?
On Danny Amate. Danny Amate has looked jittery in the last year and a half. And so I think I expect Chris Hughton to still watch him and make a decision.
We and you
let time feel.
Oh yeah, I remember the second goal. Yeah.
1 point. Really, most experienced defender, only leadership quality. He's not leading by example.
So he's leading in shakiness.
In shakiness. And Ben, whenever I watch Leicester play, and there's Danny Amate, you kind of always get this. Something will definitely go wrong, and he'll be the one who
he did something.
Something like I mean,
let me look. He did something, Kumasi, and I asked myself. I watch you week in, week out for Leicester. You never attempt to do this. Do you know what he did?
What did he do?
There was a moment where he tried giving a 70-yard pass.
I mean,
when I see him in the Black Stars, boom
the chip. But you don't do that at club level.
He acts like he's Fabio Cannavaro. Yeah, he acts like he's Fabio Cannavaro. But your skill level is on player whose name I don't want to mention. No disrespect, but it's fine. Let's move on.
So I personally think that Chris Hughton needs to watch Danny Amate. Maybe he's suffering a crisis of confidence. Maybe he's getting exposed. Maybe he's not even getting the right partner. Because I say that
nice one.
The Black Stars defense gets elevated when Salisu plays. When he's in that deep, when he's in that backline, you can tell almost instantaneously something happens to that backline. We saw it against Switzerland. We saw it in the World Cup. When he's in that backline, better decisions are taken. So I think Chris Hughton needs to do two things. One, assess that backline again and ask himself, who is the best option or the best partner for Mo Salisu? Because Mo Salisu, he's an outlier. He's a left-footed defender. We don't have a lot of those. Left-footed centre-back. So he gets the automatic spot. And then he needs to figure out who partners him. The other thing Chris Hughton needs to do is look at Joseph Edu, Nicolas Opoku, and all other options at centre-back and run through them and see who works. Because whether we like it or not, there will come a day when Danny Amate cannot play for the Black Stars. And there will come a day when he won't be able to compete with the demands of international football. So Chris Hughton needs to start thinking about that now. The AFCON is a few months away. And if Danny Amate's poor form continues, we'll go to that tournament and we'll pay for it. Because the continent is ruthless. If you go and play against Senegal, Sadio Mane, he will look at this guy, run past him and go and score. We saw it at the World Cup. And football doesn't lie. The levels will always show. So I think Chris Hughton needs to quickly decide on what happens to Danny Amate. Maybe it's a confidence crisis. Maybe it's tactical. Maybe he needs to talk to the player. But I look at Danny Amate and I don't get too convinced.
Interesting because he struts around the pitch like he's the most confident guy on the pitch, but makes the most basic errors. Like
Ben,
I don't get it.
Have you seen Ruben Loftus-Cheek? Have you seen when he walks? Does he not look like a star player? Does he play like one? So also walking around and
Lotochi didn't ask for this.
I'm
taking Black Stars. You just found him to bring him. Oh,
I have my own theories about Loftus-Cheek, but that's for another day.
That's the point I'm making. A player can look absolutely confident. Then he's not playing well enough.
Let's get to a guy. He wasn't even in the mix for these 2 games, but I feel like he's in danger of being a forgotten man. Daniel Kofitre. Is he actually in danger of missing the Chris Hughton ship? Because I saw Ashimeru coming and partner the midfield in a small time, and he made a world of difference.
This is what
happens to Kofitre.
This is what I will say. Kofitre has at least the start of next season potentially up until December this year to make a case. He's injured, right?
Yeah. And it's a very serious injury. So I don't even think he'll be ready.
So unfortunately, it won't be his doing. It won't be Chris Hughton's doing. But because if he cannot make an argument, at least for the next AFCON, you won't feature. It is life after that AFCON that when you start playing well, you will get handed an invitation. Because from what I'm seeing, Mr. Hughton will open the doors fairly for everybody to come and show what you can do. And some players, when they played against Angola in the second leg, have given him a few things to think about. As for Joseph Payne, so he was always around the team. By playing like Majid Ashmeru, he's giving Mr. Hughton a few things to think about. That this guy is an option. This guy is good. This guy looks like somebody who can give it something.
One thing that I hope and pray that they look at is our midfield. You see, our team has always been
the engine of the team.
I think it is looking to be the weakest department of the team.
I think it's because we have so many players who are of the same profile.
Yes. So if you take off Thomas Partey, also the Edmond Ado guy, he's not stake a case for himself.
Oh, Ado
I think we should move on because look,
and he's played multiple times.
Yes, anytime he's come, he's been given.
He looks like he's under pressure.
He hasn't convinced.
Yeah, he hasn't convinced. So now, Ashmeru has shown that he can play. Salis has shown that he can play. We need another 3. We need 3 more.
I think, Chris, what the Black Stars midfield needs, right, is who will call a 10. This team needs somebody.
No, I think Kudus, if he's spoken to,
I don't.
He can do that 10.
Yeah, the point is that if you take away Kudus, I'm talking about a secondary, in the previous iteration of the Black Stars, we had Stephen Appiah.
Yes.
What we would call the schemer, the brain of the team. Somebody who can pick a pass 5 yards into the penalty box. He's finding somebody, that kind of thing.
I think Ashmeru
can do that.
Courage can do that. But I'm looking at a situation where with the Partey situation, you see, there's something developing there that we need to actually look at. I have said he should be the captain of the team going forward. Quickly, don't delay that decision. Chris Hughton. I feel
so we'll make Andre.
So Andre becomes
general captain.
Hey. Oh, are we going back to those general captains?
Let's.
No, don't stretch this argument.
That what? You're making Andre the general captain. Oh.
But there's a precedent for it.
A position.
I feel when it comes to captaincy, there's no issue. We don't need to go into that.
Don't stretch that.
The moment we strip Andre of our captaincy, we'll go back to
what?
To what?
The old way.
Yeah.
So we are moving forward. Andre.
No, you see, let me tell you something. Hold on.
I don't know why you want to stretch.
Let me just say something. You see, football, certain things are inevitable.
Yeah.
Once you start putting a certain player on the bench consistently,
you move on.
His leadership is in danger.
Yeah.
That's so we move on. I don't make the rules.
Do we have to make him the general captain?
So what do you do then?
We should strip him completely.
See, that general captain something.
Let's move on.
Didn't even make sense.
Okay.
So you are either captain or not.
Either captain or his captain is not captain.
Okay, let's move on.
So coach say we should remove him completely.
So just strip him.
So I'm a bit worried about our midfield. So I wish. Look, we should go and talk to some other players. I think Chris Hughton should look at open his net a bit wider and see whether he can talk to. Where is Bernard Mensah? If he's playing,
I was surprised nobody asked this at the press. I was prompting Pidgey to
okay. Hold on. I want to get Chris's point. When you say other midfielders, what type of profile are you looking at?
People who progress the ball.
We are looking at progressors of the ball. People who take the ball and progress. People who pass the ball when it's in difficult time. They will see the pass. Because in this team, it is looking like the person who sees the pass is Thomas Partey. Apart from him, no other person sees.
I want to move the conversation on the final
I had
thought.
a discussion with this about Ebu in the afternoon. He was saying that we should play 4-3-3 and play Kudus on the wing. That's his idea. I told him that if you look at the midfielders we've picked, they are not enough and they don't move the ball well enough. So if you play a 4-3-3, it will just be so stodgy. You know that kind of thing.
You feel that? You feel? I get your point. So the
4,
point
2,
is
3, 1.
the point is we have a lot of safe passes.
Yes, safe passes.
If we
We
want
don't
to
have risk takers.
Yeah, exactly.
Players who risks the pass.
That's who he's decided
We
to
need
pick.
another Kodwa Samoa.
Let me move the conversation on. Let's talk about the wings. I personally have seen enough of Kamaldeen. I think he's not a deserving starter in the national team.
Agreed.
I think that Osman Bukhari has done enough to get a start in the
More
team.
than enough.
Coach, where do you stand on this wing play? What do we do with our wingers?
You see, I've always said it. This team is struggling for goals. And thankfully, we've got wingers who are on proper goal scoring form. They know where the goalpost is. So.
Yeah.
Osman Bukhari knows the net. Joseph Pencil in 20 minutes knows where the net is.
Even Koningsdorfer.
And if you look at their all-round contribution, they are specialists in the position. They know how to assist. Finally, football is about assists and goals. Finally, thank God it matters. Because if I'm the head coach of the Black Stars, of any national team or any team for that matter, I will not compromise on that player who guarantees me a goal or two.
We've heard in this country that football is not all about goals
Can
and
you
assists.
imagine? What a rubbish statement. What a rubbish statement. But somebody who should have known better.
I kind of agree. I won't lie.
What is it?
Football is
What's
more
football
than goals.
about?
No. Everyone has to contribute in their own way.
But if you-
certain positions,
Everybody
You see,
understands that.
the point is that football is
It's always about goals.
Always. Then, as for the other thing, those
if you're
other
also-
soft
if you're also-
values, it's important for a player to have.
also if you are stopping someone from
loyalty,
scoring too.
hard work, those things is important.
So you see, as for the wingers, look, going forward, no more Jordan, J winger, and Ajay.
You mean you don't buy all the? He's the new number 10. He works hard.
what?
He work. They say he played number 10 in the second leg against Angola, like 20 minutes, and he excelled.
I beg you, yeah.
You blew what?
I beg you, yeah. I beg you, yeah. I beg you, yeah. You should do what? You number 10. I beg you, yeah.
You're going back to your Liberian roots.
I beg you, yeah. Meaning, you number 10.
Charlie.
I will say she. See,
Defensive tracking back winger.
to do what? Look at Joseph Pencil. Did you see the acceleration?
Yeah. First touch. Out.
But look, once he saw the gap, bam, catch me.
I think that sequence was brilliant.
In that sequence,
all of Chris Hughton's substitutions were involved in that sequence.
In that sequence, we need to give thumbs up to
Inaki.
Inaki. Really.
Oh, yeah.
Charlie, the touch,
movement.
the touch.
Do you think that if Jordan had that ball and Inaki had moved, he would give the pass? Chile, he won't give the pass.
Probably take an extra touch.
Take an extra touch and when you talk about midfield, just mess up.
No, seriously.
Look, let's call the spade a spade. Jordan, I think we need to realign his mentality and his star in the Black Stars. This is a boy who started as a fine number 9. We saw him as somebody who will be the successor to someone. All of a sudden,
we say he's a winger.
He said he's a winger. He's tracking back. He's tracking forward.
And getting free.
To do what? Tracking and getting free to do what? What is the end product to that? 0 costs 90. You can do that. So as for Chris Hughton, some of us are beginning to see that the FA people don't trust him. They didn't want him. That is why when they were unveiling him, only Henry Asante was there to unveil him. Nobody else was there.
That's an allegation.
It's not
No, but it's a true
fact.
statement.
It has never happened
Okay,
before.
hold on. Let's
Remember,
get
Coach, do you remember Coach Milo's one?
I'm
This
with
is
Coach
not
on this one.
Matra Makwe.
You mean
coach on this
if you are saying that he should have been accorded the same type of unveiling that
Of course!
that's fair enough. But you can't make a blatant statement and say so and so were not there. They
But you and I know they didn't support his appointment.
I don't know that for a fact.
Okay, I know that for a fact.
I don't know that for a fact.
I know that for a fact.
See,
That is why when we had the
yeah.
opportunity to take him and the trainer scout, they took the trainer scout.
Fair enough.
With this
Fair.
one,
That's fair enough.
Coach makes a very good
That's
point
fair.
because if you're unveiling your head coach,
Your head coach.
no more, and that
GFA
day,
president should be
that Sunday, the GFA vice president was in Kumasi.
He left.
He went Sunday.
You
he was
were in Kumasi,
Yeah,
so you would
Sunday
know.
he was in Kumasi. When he knows that the day after the coach will be unveiled, and then you leave the coach with the communications director and just 2 members of his management team.
Who are those?
No, the
Alaji Gruza, and then Akwesi Ajman.
Yeah, I think
So
the tourism.
is it because they put her already in Kumasi that you've left them with? Because Alaji Gusa will be in Kumasi.
Akwesi Ajman is typically in Accra,
Yeah.
so
but clearly it sends a message across.
We are telling Chris Hughton, one support the fool. 100%.
We don't call me his appointment.
I'm telling you honestly. Nobody should influence his selection. Like the way he said, the absence of the captain is a coaching decision. All
For
of a
the
sudden,
influence crowd,
there's an injury. I know you're Nottingham Forest. No, actually,
Coach, influencer, he says he's
Wrap it up.
he's
Wrap
head
it up.
coach
Wrap
now.
it up for us on the choices and your thoughts on the national team, so we can move to under
Look, it is
23.
very simple. This team need progress.
Okay.
We have a forward-thinking coach. I said don't give the job to him because he was part of the team that took us to the World Cup.
But you can see that he has a mind of
I
his
can
own.
see that he has a mind of his own. That is what we've been crying for. For years. I've been crying for years. Finally, my tears are being wiped away. Joy. So we are hoping that he will stamp his authority and do the work.
Thank you. Nathan.
Just the last thing I want to say is Chris and I were talking about it during the week. If there's something Chris Hughton can do about our inability to take advantage of set pieces, he should do it.
Nathan, God bless you for reminding this.
Then it is really heartbreaking.
It is sad to watch.
Very sad that the Black Stars will always get into positions where they can take advantage of set
And
pieces.
teams will realize that very soon.
Yet
This
we
is when
don't.
you give them free kicks, they don't utilize it.
We had a free kick against Angola. Prime position. Absolutely brilliant position. We couldn't find anybody to take a set piece. That set piece on target was bang, 2-1. We were winning that game. And it's not just that game. Then I can count so many instances where in an AFCON, in a World Cup, we've been put in a position of promise where if you had a proper free kick taker, bang, it's at the back of the net. No. So I hope Chris Hughton thinks about it because you see, set pieces are always... The opponent can never get ready for a set piece.
An integral part of
You can train and train and train. You can never be ready for one. Right? That is why Southampton, when they play football games against other teams, all they pray for is that hack somebody.
Let's get into what Prowse range.
Because they know that once he clears the wall, the other day, as soon as the ball, the hair was praying.
I was telling somebody.
He was on his knees just looking at the ball.
I was telling somebody that we talk about this in basketball. There's something called Steph Curry range. In football, there's something called Ward Prowse range. If there's a free kick in that range,
he will score.
You know that 80%
he will score it.
The ball is ending up in the back.
The actual factual accuracy in that range for him is 60%.
Imagine.
That's crazy.
And that's ridiculously good.
Yeah, 60%. So I feel Chris Hughton needs to look at it carefully. I don't know what he will do. I don't know if the players are even thinking about it because I always say that one of the things we are going to an AFCON. Look, we may not dominate everybody.
We don't need to.
We don't have to.
I mean, Miller showed that in 2010. We don't need to.
We can get into an AFCON final. 85 minutes is goalless. Somebody gets hacked. And if we have our set pieces spot on, we score one, you win an AFCON, you go home happy. So I pray that Chris Hughton looks at it carefully and figures out something. As for the corner kicks, I won't bother too much about it. It's the direct free kicks.
It is clear that it cannot be Jordan. That be no money what you are no quality. He cannot be our set piece taker. Why?
I remember he took a set piece during
one of
our games. Somebody said something I can't repeat on here, but it was just a reflection of the
set. You know the one I remember, the Nigeria game.
That's the one I'm talking about. That's the one I'm talking about.
The deliveries were so poor. But interestingly enough, at the World Cup, he had a good one.
Only one. So let's add, he's taking over 1,000. 1 percentage.
Let's move it on. Let's move the discussion on. Let me read a few messages and then we'll talk about Felix Afena-Gyan and his issues with the under-23 team. This one is you guys always make my Friday. A Jesu Code Mickey says Afena-Gyan should have joined the under-23s and justify he deserves a place in the Black Stars. Kobena Ejiri Baden, aka Gobesika Sifie, listening live from Dansoman Sahara, says most left-footed players operate comfortably from the right side of the attack, but a young man by name Enes Nyama operates effectively on the left side of attack. Trese Onimbo rough. Tantanizer from Chicago, Illinois. Interesting. Says hi Ben and team. It's early days yet, but I think Chris Hilton will do a good job. Mutala Tanko says maybe the powerful prayer of Sheikh Ni Abba will give us breaking news on April 1st that the Glazers are out.
Oh, they'll go. Well, they can't hold on. Old Trafford needs billions to repair. They don't have the money.
Sir Angel from Greenfield Estate Amahia says good evening, guys. In fact, I don't understand God, but the prayer alone from coach makes me feel I understand everything. No more, it'll be too much. Coach Mazi Ikena, listening from East Legon. Hey, Mazi Ikena, the big man. I don't understand God language, but I enjoy the opening prayer. Take it like that. Joe JC from Santo says Barca are going to win.
I don't understand, but we're here.
Titin Tefre, aka Ancient Cockroach. He has put his own name in parentheses. He says for
Ancient Cockroach.
Yeah, he says Potter sneaked to go watch Chelsea ladies to learn new tactics and how to win. If he doesn't deliver this weekend and beyond, he's long gone.
Potter is going nowhere.
Villa from Potter. Villa from Osu says good evening, guys. Especially to my one and only Sheikh Niaba. Tell him my wife loves his submissions. Guys, where is Jonathan Mensah? Has he not been playing well for his club?
I think by his age.
You mean he's an old Dwadi? This one here says, Coach, I seriously disagree with you on Ashikwe becoming our left back for the Black Star. He didn't say that. He didn't see. This is how people misconstrue. He says Ashikwe has done enough to get a look.
If he goes to the Morocco and he proves that
he can get a look.
Give him, yeah.
Is it okay? Let me read more. This one says, hi Ben. No, I'm not saying Gideon is a bad player. But against Angola, he was very bad. He couldn't cross any proper ball into the opponent box. Alex from Nima with that one. More. This one says, Sheikh Ni Abba will soon tend to say Ni Abba say Radcliffe. Stoic from Florida. This one says, hi Ben and team. Mustafa Wakaso texting from Tamale Technical University campus. In fact, I'm addicted to sports Panorama to extend that I don't just pray for Friday to reach, but the night of the show. God bless you, especially El Pichi. Charlie El Pichi Joe fans.
El Pichi, you get fans.
Yeah, Charlie. Let's get to Felix Afena-Gyan. We'll get back to the message box in a bit. So interesting banter going on about Felix Afena-Gyan. So the word initially came that he had rejected a call-up to play with the under-23 team during the two qualifiers against Algeria. Well, the FA have responded to this in terms of the management committee chairman of the Meteors team he says, Frederick Achi, and I'm quote Frederick Achampon, he says that it is not true that Felix was given a last-minute call-up to the team. He says it is not true. He says, in fact, Felix was one of the first players on their list, and they were told to write to their clubs early in order that players like Afena-Gyan would be allowed by their clubs to come and represent Ghana. So the FA clearly states that as far as Afena-Gyan is concerned, it was not about a late call-up. It was not about anything. There was no conspiracy involved. He was invited, and his agent stated emphatically that the player was not ready. Let's listen to Frederick Achampo. We'll come back in studio. We'll make some sense of it.
Afena-Gyan's invitation was not late because I've followed a lot of discussions in the media landscape, and people suggesting that the FA handed him a late call-up after they were called from Ghanaians. No. In fact, Afena-Gyan was one of the first foreign-based players we invited. The president of the Ghana Football Association spoke to me personally and told me that I should get my technical team to, present the foreign-based players they will require for this engagement early enough so that we can work on them in terms of writing letters to their clubs for the invitation and working out their tickets and visas, because we're going to travel to a foreign country. And so Afena-Gyan was one of the first players that the coach spoke to, because when the coach draws out such a list, the first thing he does is to speak to the players and tell them his plans and the decision to invite them to participate in that particular game. So the coach spoke to him personally. I mean, long before, for instance, we invited Salim Adams, long before we invited and there's Nuyama. So he was one of the first players the coach spoke to. And following up to the conversation between him and the coach, his manager called him. And the coach tells me the manager called him maybe not less than twice. I mean, 2-3 times, and told him emphatically that the guy was not ready.
That is the word or the official position of the FA. They say there's no conspiracy. Afena-Gyan and his camp say that he was not ready. Nathan, let me start with you on this note. What have you made of this particular issue? What do you think Felix needs to do? I think that his national team career is in danger if he continues on this tangent. This is purely what I think. What do you make of it?
I was quite surprised to hear that, he had turned down the call-up, and, then I heard from the FA side that he had been invited quite early. And this is what I think. Now, Felix Afena-Gyan, he's a player with promise. But I also think he needs to understand something. I think the World Cup snub is still in his system.
They are acting on it.
Listen.
Of course.
And
she's not going to take an under-19 player. When you needed help, you brought him to help the team.
You see, this is what I will say. I can understand how Afena-Gyan feels about this. But I also feel that this was another opportunity to maybe remind the national team selectors that I still have value to give. And it's good for his own development and education as a player. Because you come and play this qualifier, Ghana makes it through, you will definitely get a chance to play in the under-23 AFCON. And that is an opportunity for you. Now, assuming Ghana even qualifies for the Olympics, that is still an opportunity for you to go and show something, to build your own confidence, to tell the people at Cremonese how good you are, and remind the national team selectors once again that you are still an option. So if I look at it objectively, I don't know how all parties allowed this matter to degenerate to this point where we are now accusing each other of sending call-ups late and somebody didn't get the call-up, somebody didn't get that call-up. Whatever issues there are concerning the World Cup, I can kind of understand. But I feel that there's a long future ahead of both Afena-Gyan and the Black Stars, and they can always meet at a point. So I think that the players' management, if there were issues, they could have spoken to the FA. Probably should have spoken to Ibrahim Tanko, away from everybody, and says, okay, this, that, and that, and that. Tanko might probably give him a few assurances here and there, whatever issues they are, hash it out. Because you see, for a player, once you get called up by your country to go and feature, I feel it's an honor. I feel it's a chance, especially for him, Afena-Gyan, and the position he's in, where he wants to make an impression, where he wants to develop. I would have taken this chance. I would have said, you know what, let me go and play these qualifiers. These guys are my age mates. Probably will give me confidence. And you can build from there.
And to be fair, Afena-Gyan is not even been playing that much for Cremonese. He barely gets game time. 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
That may have played into his reason to decline the call-up. That he feels that if you look at Cremonese, there's not a lot of international players there. So during this
I'll make a statement
international break, I'm sure a lot they will be staying and training. Look, they are last. They are going to be.
That's also fair. What about those people who say that your national team is a good chance to remind your club how good you are?
But the coach has to see you on the training ground and see how you fit. My thing about this is, if truly he was called on time and he told them early that he would rather not come,
that's fine.
Why did they not go and collect? Why did they not go and call another player? I think even if he rejected the call-up, I think the GFA has misbehaved in a way. They've set him up for slander.
Sure.
Because...
In what sense?
In the sense that we know that if you don't show up, we know how Ghanaians are going to react. The GFA, they are not naive. They know this. If you know that he's rejected the call-up, he's not interested in coming, he's told you in advance. He's giving you ample time to go and find someone else. Isn't it a fair thing to do, find someone else, and just leave it at that? Because I don't think that it serves anyone for us to be talking about him and criticizing him in this. Because if you remember, didn't something similar happen with Alfred Duncan?
Yes.
Saying he was injured and couldn't come.
Yeah.
And the GFA making it like he rejected the call-up.
As for that one, emphatically again, they never invited Alfred Duncan.
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying? There's always these things happening. So it feels like sometimes the GFA should also take a stand and not try and make these things come out in the public, because there's players who reject call-ups all the time for various reasons in other countries, and it doesn't become a big case. Do you get what I'm saying?
I feel like most people feel that this Afena-Gyan thing is an issue because there is the element or unspoken, right? Nathan touched on it of feeling entitled to being a Black Stars player and thinking that the under 23s are below his level.
Let me make a point here. I think that one, we need to. I thank the player for not coming. Yes.
Why?
Afena-Gyan did the right thing for not coming. Now, for me, I believe in one thing. If you're not committed to something, don't do it.
Okay.
If you're not committed to something,
if it is not in your heart to
don't
come,
do it.
Don't come.
So I think I laud the player for taking the decision because clearly he was not in the right frame of mind. It would have been so sad if he had flown all the way from Italy and then in the game against Algeria, he wasn't to give. He didn't give his 100%, or he doesn't give his 100%.
That's fair.
So once he knew that he was not going to give his 100% to the Black Meteors, I think that we need to laud him for not coming. Two, I think that everyone and how we agree, we accept issues,
rejection,
or how we process things. Some people take lengthy time to go over or to let things go. Others also take a very short time. Joseph Pencil will maybe take a very short time to process things and let it go. Afena-Gyan might take a longer time to let the things go. For me, I think
by the
that
time you let it go, the teams have moved on from you.
So be it. See, once he has said personally that he's not available,
we should respect his decision.
Exactly. If it would take him even 6 more months for him to go through all this and then be okay for the Black Stars, we need to respect this. He's a very young player. I think that there's still more national team call-ups for him in future. He's not like a player who is in his maybe twilight of his career. He's a young lad. He is hurting, which is normal for every individual. He missed the World Cup. It makes sense for him to hurt. He can take as long as he wants to get over all this and come back.
Can I ask something?
100%.
Let me just...
If at the moment he is not ready to give Ghana 100%, he shouldn't come. And I think I agree with him on this.
Let me just say this before I get to coach finally. First and foremost, why is Afena-Gyan hurting? That's my first thing. Is it because he was invited to take part in the qualifiers or the last 2 games in Nigeria? Yeah. So on what form does he think that he was entitled to go to the World Cup? So on what form? Because if as far as I'm concerned, he wasn't even playing football.
I know.
You weren't even playing football.
The way we went
you barely have 5 career club goals.
Exactly.
So why is they didn't take me to the World Cup, so I'm upset.
It's about how we invited him to the Black Stars.
Then we are the problem.
Yeah, how we invited him. Because we made him want to come. We made him feel like he was our all.
Yeah, you see,
we made him feel like he was
our started comparing to Asam.
So how he invited
him, the new baby jet and things.
So if maybe they basically went on a charm offensive to kind of convince him.
Exactly.
And then the moment we got what we needed from him. Bye.
You see, you remember we did this program when there was a time where he should have been. In fact, the attempt to invite him was done first, and then even through his agent. This is not the first time. He said the boy he was not ready. He said, "I'm not ready."
He said, no.
Even before he made his debut. Yes,
he said, "I'm not ready."
No.
Then at that time we accepted it. Why are we not accepting it now? Why are we putting it out there, using your media people to make the boy look bad? Stop that.
This is my point.
Stop that.
So unnecessary.
No, you should stop these things. Stop that. In life, stop that.
We're making him look so bad.
You see, this is a player, look, take it or leave it. He contributed immensely to get Ghana to the World Cup. Because I was in Kumasi. That game against Alata, home and away against Alata. No more.
You mean Alata?
Wakanago man, home and away. We saw what Afena-Gyan brought to the table.
Yeah.
He was paid like any other player for that service. So again, I disagree with him thinking that he should have been at the World Cup at all costs. But if he looks at the fact that you could take an under-19 player, a player who was playing under-19 to under-19, because all player in the World Cup,
Fatao
Isayako, I still maintain he shouldn't have gotten anywhere closer to the team.
And that's why he's been dropped now, and we thank God.
You understand? Then you drop Afena-Gyan. Like I said, he was dropped. Because even Joseph Pencil was dropped unlawfully. You understand? Because our most informed player was even dropped. So this is what I said the other day when my brother sat here with me. And I said that I want the FA people to understand that it is going to be a process. You remember I said it here? why my general secretary wouldn't agree with me when I said, look, in case Joseph Pencil were to tell the FA, I am not ready. Let nobody go after him.
Yeah.
I said it here.
Yeah.
So the same thing can be applied to Afena-Gyan. If you say, don't use your media people, because if we also say that we want to counter them, no more, it will not be easy. I'm telling you, if we want to counter them,
the verdict
so
is that
the FA should show maturity. Because this boy, if we can help him get his career back on track, progress in the who stands to benefit?
The Black Stars.
The Black Stars, of course. Because I remember what I saw of him against Nigeria in Kumasi. That is the level he can get to. And then to his agent and to his people too. Look, we pray that you heal quick. The World Cup is gone. There's the AFCON tournament. There's the Olympics. There's another World Cup coming.
I'm just curious
Sit
to
the
see
boy down. You see,
the AFCON.
it's a family matter. When I said it's a family matter, look, Joseph Pencil, who came to do what he did last week, there was a family sitting, a whole family matter. Because you need people who got him to understand that when he was going to
let it go.
Those people who have to come in to psych him and prepare him for the game. The same thing, maybe the people in and around Afena-Gyan are still hurting. But it is going to be a process. So my humble plea to the FA, that treat players in the manner like you are the father. You don't throw the players out there. Stop using your media people to misbehave.
Fair point.
And honestly, the under-23 AFCON won't be played at a key time of the season. It's played over the summer break.
Yes.
So for now, like I said, look, Cremonense have won like one game all season, right? They are doing their best to stay in Syria.
That could be a reason why he could say, look,
they are thinking
we are being taught new things. I don't want to do. I want to be part of it.
And look, if you're in a team like that, where all the top teams are going on, half the players are going,
and all your players are
there. It's a time you can get something done. So for me, if you think about his club career, it made sense to stay. That's just me looking from the outside. It's not like anyone has told me or anything. It just makes sense from the outside.
Especially when he comes, he walks straight into this team. He walks straight into the under-23.
And secondly, if you are not playing, you have to impress the coach in that time. Other people are also who impress the coach whilst you are gone. Yep. Your coach doesn't care what you do for under-22. He cares about staying in Syria. And the third thing is, if he still doesn't want to play in the tournament, that's when I feel like these questions about entitlement and these things can be raised. Because it's not a key time of the season unless he's hurt or something.
Or maybe by then he's not still recovered.
Yeah.
Okay, so
for me,
time will give
right
us
now it's
answers.
too early for us to start because in the middle of the season, this is a crucial part of the season. Certain players might not be as willing to play international football around this time.
Maturity view.
How you invite the player and how you dispose them.
I'm not ready. Don't expose the person out there. They brought it out.
Fair enough. Let's get to more messages and then we'll get to the big game this weekend. This one says, thank God it's Friday. Welcome to the best show in West Africa. Liverpool winning tomorrow. Man United losing on Sunday. Inshallah. Please tell coach to drop some herbal concoction formula for tonight because
you want my team to lose. I should give you one.
Won't give you any one smooth, one chap for the man them.
No,
listen, you see, please tell coach to drop some herbal concoction formula for tonight because the weather has been blessed.
We will not give you
shout outs to the Black Stars and the coach from Ashikin Shapio to Nat Coleman, aka Omoshishi from Kolebu Hospital. He's the best at eating Omoshishi from the Kolebu canteen. Charlie, what kind of snitching is this? So for those of you who don't know what Omoshishi is, basically kanzo. That's it. Kanzo. Let me get to Sports Magician from Playhouse Medina. Says our play as a national team is not good though. I just hope we start playing with confidence and win convincingly. For Amate, he just sha. We should say it. He does not have any experience. He sha. It's like this guy. Bellyman inside Tema says, to be honest, I think Gideon Mensah is a good player. Apart from his through balls and his crosses, but his dribbling and holding on to the ball in tight situations is very good. I think Gideon is decent. It's harsh to judge a player on 2 games.
Just like Amate.
Oh no, Amate, they are reaching. As for Amate, you are reaching. Don't do it.
I think
whatever applies to Gideon applies to Amate.
I think Chris has just detailed this, and because I'm happy you mentioned it because I only noticed this a few months ago. I was watching
lefties and righties.
Yes, I was watching a game like this, and I was home watching. I said, but why is Luke Shaw getting beaten all the time? Then I remember that, wait a minute, he's left-footed. His opponent is equally left-footed. So he's cutting onto Luke Shaw's right, and there's nothing you can do
That's why when Luke Shaw meets Saka, he
can't deal with it because Saka, yes.
Because Saka is.
Saka is hot.
This one says we were clearly lacking the number 8, and immediately Ashimeru came on and decided to play the 8th role. We took hold of the game.
Yeah, man.
Kudus is a necessary evil. He hangs onto the ball too long. Likewise, Kamaldeen. The attacking combo of Kamaldeen, Kudus, and Jordan was hurting the team. These 3 players hang onto the ball for too long and always prefer to dribble than to give simple passes. Very, very good of them.
Spot on.
Very spot on. Very.
The 3 players.
And I think the Kudus situation, the coaches will have to improve because we need him. If they can press on him and get him to raise his hand and see when to do that. Because
I think over time, that's why Ajax. I think it's very interesting.
That's why Ajax don't play in midfield.
Yes,
Ajax is so clear.
Whether they stumbled on it, whether they did it out of whatever.
I mean, I think it was tactical. I interviewed Augustin Ahim when he said the same thing. I asked him about Kudus hanging onto the ball, what can be done. He said, look, the gentleman is not a midfielder. He's a forward. He's adept at scoring goals. Put him in a zone where he doesn't have to take too many touches of the ball. Yeah. And if he does, it is to another forward player to probably try and score.
Simple.
Just simplify the equation.
So it means that Huting and the technical team, they need a lot of... Essentially, you have to how do I even say it? Engineer this team. Yeah, because if the combinations are
if key. If you were to put him in the middle of, let's say he's playing in the front 3 where there's a main man, there's Joseph Pinson, there's Osman Bukari. This guy, they want to run. Yeah. It's like,
Interesting. Let me read more messages. This one says, good evening to all sports panoramans. He says, Nathan owes Chelsea fans an apology. Only Chelsea fans have the right to bash Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Hey! The guy always they look like prime Johan Cruyff during walkout onto the field. Guy no wasatu. And then from Asante Achim Agogo. I'm Kofi Ashama says, can Hilton get some midfield players in the Premier League from Ghana? No. Let's not go back to this. Let's not do this. George from Kofi says, oh Nathan, you always know the perfect example. Loftus-Cheek is the perfect example of Amate. Amate's confidence is like the man who said, we know how to bring the economy to life. What we do not know is how to bring people back to life. Charlie, that analogy kills me all the time. Let's move it on. Ray from Abokobi says, good evening, guys. I don't agree with Coach on his comment on our wingers. All our wingers do is cut in and shoot. We have a proper striker like Inaki who runs into spaces, yet our wingers are not able to find him. Our wingers should be taught to find Inaki.
No, but which of our wingers did he hear me talk about?
I don't know. I'm not even sure. Ads from Madina says, good evening, Ben and crew.
Message there somewhere.
He said he wants us to intervene in his WhatsApp group.
This guy is not serious. This one here says, listening to you guys from Kokrobiti, enjoying it from Yao Minta. Yao Minta is in the studio next. How are you texting us to Yao Minta? Be careful.
Are you sure Yao Minta is not at the party?
Sheikh Jasper inside Garu. Charlie, you've inspired a whole generation of Sheikh.
Look, he'll buy the club.
He says, please tell Sheikh Ni Abba that he must fast and pray so that the takeover materializes.
Look, yesterday's statement alone means the club will be sold.
Let's move it on. Let's talk about Manchester City, Liverpool. Big game on our hands. Early kickoff. Early kickoff is barely ever like this. Somebody says that if Man City can beat Liverpool tomorrow, it's curtains for them on the title. Exactly. I don't know where you guys... Let me start with you.
I think, look, it is what it is. The two teams both need the 3 points bad. I think if Liverpool were to lose tomorrow, top 4 becomes a serious issue. But look, you want to fancy Man City. This Liverpool team tend to give too many chances away. They are not playing the Jurgen Klopp way because it is clear that anytime they've beaten Man City, Sadio Mane, Bobby Firmino, Mo Salah had to play in a certain way. They had to press the ball like they never do before or like they've never done before. And at the end of the day, once they go and trigger, the Fabinho, the Henderson, and co would just anticipate better. And there's proper coordination in the press. Do we see that of late? No, we don't see that of late. And of course, the Erling Haaland factor, I think he will play tomorrow because I think if you look at Pep Guardiola, what he said was like, we'll look at his training today at 4 o'clock. Today, he's seen him train already. They want to get Jurgen Klopp to think that he won't play. But Jurgen Klopp is a very smart coach. He knows that tomorrow
prepare for
Erling Haaland will
It's a mind game thing.
It's a mind game. And I think it will come down to the team that will create the most chances and the one who will put the ball in the net. And I think Man City...
The last Liverpool-Man City game was a road, so I remember.
So once Ederson is there, it means Liverpool are winning.
Are you sure?
Well,
The last time Liverpool created a ton of chances and only took one.
I will say, and when I made this point on Twitter the day after Liverpool beat Man United, people were going at me and, they said, yeah. Listen, and I repeat that point. I don't think there's any club in world football that knows how to play on the occasion like Liverpool. It doesn't matter what they are going through. If today you tell them that Liverpool, give me a performance, they'll give you one. Like what they did against Man United. So I think about that and I worry a little for Man City because if Liverpool do match them and if Liverpool decide to turn up.
I would agree with you 100% if this was Anfield.
But this at the Etihad, you think? Well, I get you. Look, I will say that it will be a tough test. I would love to see how Man City responds, especially we've seen them play a lot of big games at home. We saw them in the Champions League.
The point is 8 points now.
It's 8 points. They have a game in hand. Yeah. So what they want to do is win and put pressure on Arsenal. Arsenal will beat Leeds. That we know. So I'd love to see how they approach this game, especially Erling Haaland, because in the biggest of games, the criticism is that he hampers the way Man City want to play and he's never there. Can he turn it up tomorrow? Can he give Man City something? Because he is an extremely vital element in what they do. If they will score, it will be Erling Haaland.
Kevin De Bruyne form coming to this.
Yes,
He looks very good.
He played against Germany. He was brilliant. So if those two guys are on form, that's great. And we'll have to see. As for Ederson, I think it's a conversation for another day. I think he gives Man City a lot in terms of passing. But when I look at him as a goalkeeper and his basic job as a goalkeeper, I look at him and I have doubts. No wonder Alisson is Brazil #1. And Alisson is the reason why Liverpool still have a mathematical chance of making top 4. So I think tomorrow is key for the two sides. One team wanting to hunt down Arsenal, the other team wanting to mathematically stay alive and try and chase Champions League football.
I think for Jurgen Klopp, he always finds a way against the big teams. I like how he turned up against Man United and I went off against Bournemouth.
It's called the 10-up of the century.
Exactly.
At home.
10-up of the century.
He didn't turn up at Old Trafford.
Oh, at Anfield, he did that against Man United.
So at home, he will turn up. But so tomorrow, they'll get beat.
So it makes you wonder what sort of Liverpool team you are going to get to. Yeah. But I think that for this Liverpool side as well, they've had so many setbacks this season, which Klopp has admitted that, yes, as a football club, you know that there will be setbacks in the season, but not this frequent. And it has been so much for Liverpool. I just know that against Man City, they should be motivated because they know they just have some few matches now to wrap up the season. Missing out on Champions League football next season will be huge loss.
I'm afraid
will be huge loss for Liverpool. And this is where they need to bring their A game because the matches left are small. The point gap is also not the best for them to catch up. So
so
this is the time for them to show that they really want Champions League football.
I think they'll fall short in the middle of the park.
You think so?
That is what.
Yeah, I also get worried for Liverpool in the midfield.
That is what is going to cost them the game tomorrow.
That's Fabinho.
Because
breaking news. Naby Keita is injured again. Naby Keita, he gets injured in his sleep. Have you seen players like that before? If he's sleeping at night with his duvet, he can get injured.
I think if he wakes
up to go to the washroom in the middle of the night,
if
he can get injured.
Maybe it will be Bassett.
Bassett is out.
Bassett is out. He's not injured.
Probably Fabinho, Elliott, maybe a Milner or Henderson.
Fabinho, Elliott, and Henderson.
Liverpool
cannot afford to play Milner, no.
Bassett is out for the season.
Yeah. Liverpool can't afford to play Milner.
So they are not winning.
Too many things will bypass him.
They are playing Fabinho, Henderson, and Milner. Don't worry.
Hey, Picasso, why are you adding?
There's no
Picasso.
And this man will be playing with Rodri, Gundogan,
De Bruyne.
Kevin De Bruyne.
Or Bernardo Silva.
But Chris, let me ask, so can Pep squeeze all 4 midfielders into the team? Rodri, Gundogan, KDB,
it will come at the expense of one of the wide guys.
Okay.
Maybe a Maris. Or I think it will be Maris that will be second.
Okay, so because Foden is out. Foden is out.
Yeah.
Foden is not playing.
Akwesi Anson from Twitter says it's only Klopp who knows how to handle Pep. Fair enough. The head-to-head says so. Ransford Biakoto says if you are even charmed to join the national team, you should you not be dropped when you are out of form? Should a place in the national team be an entitlement? I think you are referring to the Afena-Gyan issue. This one here, this one says, as for Dani Amate, You just have to watch Leicester play and you realize he's easily the worst defender in the PL. Maybe closely behind Bednarek and Joel Ward. Charlie.
But those are his team. No, Bednarek not his team.
Bednarek.
No, Bednarek is
Southampton. Yeah. Okay,
So for me, yes, Liverpool midfield is terrible, but I think Klopp, looking at what's at stake, should be able to make the game difficult for Man City. Just make the game difficult.
Pep has a lot more to lose
than Liverpool. You have had a shambolic season already.
But he wants to salvage. He wants to
don't
salvage
use one game to save anything.
So let me take your thoughts on this finally before we talk some boxing and we sign out.
Oh, me, I've said it to Ederson. He has to show up. He has to show up.
Because Liverpool will get chances.
Yeah, he has to show up. That's the difference. Is he going to be? And to a certain extent, Alisson has been one of Liverpool's best players, but we all know the mistakes are there. You know, sometimes when he's playing with the ball and things. So the keepers have to be on form, and I trust Alisson more than I trust Ederson.
When Becca is in the mood, he'll do all kinds of things you can't think about.
Would you be surprised tomorrow if Erling Haaland shows up and bang a hat-trick?
Oh, but you see,
he's shown up against Liverpool so far, though.
Coach, he tends to score against every opponent he has met in the season.
But coach,
hopefully tomorrow will be one of those days.
But coach, you have to be fair that in the sense that even if a keeper does his best, there are some positions and shots. It doesn't matter which keeper.
I'm not saying, because I'm saying that in looking at it holistically.
Yeah, you are just saying that.
Liverpool have been very poor. If Haaland shows up and scores a hat-trick,
they give too many chances.
It's not, and
he's had enough rest.
Even there was a stat about halfway through the season that all of last season Liverpool gave up about 40 clear-cut chances or something, and by that was the whole of last season. By game 19, I had reached like 56 or something ridiculous like that. No, the defender has been poor, so I'm not too surprised.
Let's talk some boxing now, because the Royal Storm has another chance to become a world champion. Somewhere around dawn time. Yeah, don't see, Charlie. We'll wake up to find. Nathan, can you find us the exact time of that bout? If you could just pull it out for us. Okay. But there's a bout between Robesi Ramirez and Isaac Dogbe. Now, Robesi Ramirez is a two-time Olympic champion. He's heavy favorite for this bout, according to every preview that I have read. Isaac Dogbe, though, says that the ghosts of his past are behind him. He's confident about going into the bout a couple of hours from now. He thinks that he has every reason to be positive about winning. Coach, let me start. Just quick thoughts on Dogbe.
I'm not going to waste too much because I don't know too much about his opponent. But look, if the opponent is bigger,
slightly taller, not considerably, slightly
as compared to the guy who disciplined Dogbe.
Navarrete is an outlier, definitely way taller.
Okay,
Ramirez is just slightly taller than Dogbe.
Okay, then it means Dogbe has a chance because he has shown that if he can match up to the size, and then because we saw how
he can fight.
Yeah,
that's one thing about Dogbe.
Yeah, so he will fight him good, and I think in terms of experience. Dogbe has been a world champion before. Yeah. He understands the situation better. He understands what it is to be a world champion. He's won the belt. He's lost the belt. He tried annexing the belt. He didn't work out. Yeah. So he's experienced every bit of it. So it is. I believe that if he were to bring his A game, like I said, I don't know too much about the opponent. Yeah. But if he can bring his A game, I think he should rather
go all the way.
He can teach him some few lessons in the ring and then bring the title to Ghana.
Nathan,
you ask about the time. It's 10 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah. So 10 p.m. Eastern is what? 4 hours? So about like 2 a.m.
out here.
Yeah.
Just quick thoughts on the
Look, it will be quite tasking for Dogbe. I mean, if you look at Robesi Ramirez, two-time Olympic gold medalist, we know what he can do. Isaac Dogbe is brave and courageous. I hope he has a plan, because the last two times he took on Navarrete, you could tell that he was absolutely outclassed and outthought. He needs to have a plan. He needs to watch his defense, because the last few bouts I've seen, his defense has been a little dodgy and he has taken a few punches. So his defense needs to be up there. He needs to be ready. He needs to last and be durable throughout, because it will be quite tasking. It will be very demanding. Physically, it will be there. Psychologically, you are thinking about this. You are thinking about what follows. If you win, you get a crack at the world title. Is there still Navarrete down the line? You have to think about that kind of thing. But he has to focus on the bout. I think he's capable, but he needs to be very ready, because Robesi Ramirez will ask a lot of questions. And some of these boxers are technically sound, very strong, and they will wear you down. I look at Richard coming from over the weekend. You could tell that he was absolutely worn down.
And to buttress that point you made,
Dogbe needs to be ready for the long haul because this guy will try and wear him down before trying stopping that bout a little later.
So if you look at
Dogbe's
opponent, is he
Ramirez?
Is he a boxer who can endure a lot of punishment?
Yes.
Yeah, Ramirez can take. Two-time Olympic gold medalist. Very solid.
I know 4 rounds can it be?
Three
rounds.
Your fundamentals at amateur level always help.
The top boxers. That's
They all came from that level.
Normally, if he's a 2-time Dogbe is a 1-time world champion.
Fair enough.
Well, no,
It's a good balance.
He's a 2-time Olympic champion. I think maybe.
Okay,
how old was he? Because
there's
it's a 4-year guy.
There's context to it.
But Chris was making Richard Comey.
And Coach is right. You see,
Comey.
Lou DiBella after that, and Michael Amubediako himself have said that Comey was struggling to make weight, and so they have.
But for this one, the story I'm picking and is on a lot of the portals. Dogbe and Ramirez both made weight easily. So this, in terms of weight, this is comfortable. Yes.
To the contest.
Well, for me, a quick one. I think I like how Dogbe has bounced back from the Navarrete defeat. Wins against Chris Avalos, Adam Lopez, Christopher Diaz, and also Joel Gonzalez has been good for him. So he's had a couple of fights after that defeat to try and regain his confidence. And as Nathan said, he needs to work on one key part of his game, which is defense. I like the fact that he wants to always be that pound for pound boxer, but ask yourself, defense is also part of the sport. So the punishment is... and as much as you want to be a pound for pound boxer, you also have to take care of your defense. I think that was one of the key things about Mayweather's career that made him a champion. He had the very best defense.
He's the best.
Exactly. Defending is part of the game. So Dogbe needs to work.
Hitting your opponent
you hit and then you defend. Yeah, but Dogbe always wants to hit, and forgets that, hey, I have to also try and defend. Going into this one, I pray that he takes care of his defense as well, and he should be able to go past his opponent, Robesi Ramirez. If only he has a better defense than previous bouts.
As for Comey, he should retire. No more. He's lost how many fights? The last 5 fights.
1 in 5.
1 in 5.
1 in 5.
He must have huge cholesterol.
Quick shout outs, guys, before we go. Just quick shout outs.
Yeah, I need to do this birthday one. It was sent to me earlier, but I couldn't. A happy birthday to Mrs. Dinah Dakwan Boating, head of protocol at the Ministry of Youth and Sports. That's coming from her husband, George Boating, and the children, Dr. Tima, Mami Krama, Papa Seda, and the entire family. So, Madam Dinah Boating, head of protocol at the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Happy birthday to you. For those who don't know her, for those who watched the number 12 documentary, she was the person who turned down the inducement. So yeah, many shouts to her, Madam Diana Boating of the Ministry of Youth and Sports.
She's a godly woman.
Right? Some people are not godly people.
If you take the inducement, I know God.
Some people take away.
Well, Ben, mine goes to 2 Sports Panorama.
It's okay.
The first one is my very good friend. That's Edward Jesse. I call him Eddie Jesse. He's a lecturer at the Accra Technical University. Good evening to you. Shout out, big one to my big boss there. And also to Dennis Morgan. He's at Kelmed Pharmaceuticals at Adabraka. They are all loyal listeners of the show and great sports.
It's okay.
It's okay.
For me, I just want to give a shout out to my wife.
Oh, Charlie.
She traveled for some important business, and she's been away for.
She's back.
Close to 6
so
days.
Nia Batu is back,
and I've been with the girls all over, and she's back, and I intend to welcome her good. From here,
welcome her good.
That must be clearly underlined.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you, my brother. Mrs. Nimley, Susan Obrivia.
Oh, Charlie.
Nice one.
I'm sure you realize that Charlie, she was doing a super job handling your little girl.
It wasn't easy.
It's not easy. All right. That's it from us here. I want to just do a quick one. This one's from Mr. Isaac Akofo. Rather sad note there. Hopefully, I could have been there in Cape Coast. But Mrs. Anakole or Anna Finn, who has passed away, her burial service will be at Pedu tomorrow. The St. John Baptist Catholic Church in Pedu. Mrs. Anakole, from all your loved ones, your relatives, and everybody. So all those who want to go out there and commiserate with the family, please do so. My name is Benjamin Iketia. Shout outs to Susu Graham, to Evans Ofochumanso, aka Pichichi. Yeah, that's his name. His name is Evans Ofochumanso. Coach Christopher Nimili, Nathan Kwao, Edwin Kwakofi, Rita Mensah, Bernard de Salce, and everybody who helps to make this show a success. Shout outs to you, the listeners, as well. The show is nothing without you, like I always say. Big shout outs to our texters and our Twitter fam. The show will be up on SoundCloud soon. So yes, do wait for that one. Yes, you can listen to it all over again. Catch all the interesting moments you missed. Until next week, we're out.